So today we are going to be talking about a topic that I have wanted to talk about for quite a while, but recent events have finally made it kind of possible to be able to talk about the subject. And the thing that we're going to talk about is marijuana and guns. This is one of the questions that I get asked the most. This is one that people are probably the most confrontational with me about. So I really hope that I kind of covered everything. And if you guys have any questions or anything that I missed and I need to add, please go ahead and add it to the comments down below, and I will be sure to look into it for you. Let's preface this video by saying that I am not a lawyer. This is not legal advice, so please do not try to use this as your defense. If you do get in trouble for something, please talk to a real attorney. With that, let's get started, huh? So we're going to kind of break this up into a few parts. First, we're going to go through kind of the background and like what led us to be able to discuss this today. Then kind of the HIPAA regulations and that type of thing. Then the South Dakota gun laws. And then we're going to kind of discuss like if you're a current gun owner, what your options are. If you want to purchase guns in the future, what your options are. And then we're going to kind of jump into hunting at the end. So the thing that really kind of kicked this off started in May 2022. There was a guy named Jared Harrison who was pulled over on his way to work at a medical marijuana dispensary in Oklahoma. It is legal for medical use in Oklahoma, not recreational. When police pulled Harrison over, they, thought that it smelled like marijuana, asked him to step out of the vehicle. And when they inspected the vehicle, they found a loaded revolver, some marijuana, some gummies, some vape pens, cartridges, things of pre-rolls, and like some marijuana stems in a tray. So Harrison was subsequently arrested and charged with possession of marijuana and paraphernalia by the state of Oklahoma. But then 3 months later, in August of 2022, a federal grand jury indicted Harrison for the possession of a firearm with knowledge that he was an unlawful user of marijuana, which is in violation of 18 U.S.C. Prosecutors argued that the portion of the law focusing on drug users is consistent with a long-standing historical tradition in America of disarming presumptively risky persons, namely felons, the mentally ill, and the intoxicated. They also referred to marijuana users as both unvirtuous and dangerous. The judge, he was not having that. He was not impressed with the prosecutor's position at all, and he did not like the position that the prosecutors took by calling unlawful marijuana users both unvirtuous and dangerous. He actually went on to say that because the mere use of marijuana does not involve violent, forceful, or threatening conduct, a user of marijuana does not automatically fall within that group. Now, after hearing the arguments, the U.S. District Court judge did agree with Harrison's lawyer, ruling that federal prosecutors' arguments that Harrison's status as a marijuana user justifies stripping him of his fundamental right to possess a firearm is not a constitutionally permissible means of disarming Harrison. So the reason that I'm making this video now rather than after this first kind of came out is because I was waiting to see if it would be challenged or overturned or if it would be upheld, and then if other states would start using this or what would happen. So since this happened, it has not been challenged. It has been upheld by federal judges, and in other states, similar things have been happening, but the federal judges in those states have upheld the marijuana user's Second Amendment right to bear arms. So this case really sets a precedent for upholding the Second Amendment rights of marijuana users, meaning that just because you use cannabis or marijuana, whether you're a patient or not, does not mean that you're a danger to society, and it does not mean that you should lose your rights to bear arms. So this kind of maybe feels like we're leapfrogging a little bit. However, the next thing we're going to talk about is HIPAA. All right, so some people have questioned whether or not HIPAA applies to medical marijuana because medical marijuana is not federally legal and HIPAA is a federal law. But the Department of Health and Human Services defines protected health information as individually identifiable health information that relates to the past, present, or future physical or mental health or condition of an individual, the provision of health care to an individual, or the past, present, or future payment for the provision of health care to an individual. So what does that mean exactly? Well, it means that being a medical marijuana patient is HIPAA protected, okay? Having a medical card is considered a medical record, which is all HIPAA protected. Whether it's a federal law or not, all of your medical information is protected under HIPAA. Now, it's no secret that South Dakota has some of the most lax gun laws in the country. We are one of the states that does have permitless carry, meaning that anyone who's 18 and older can, carry a handgun openly or concealed without a permit or a license, pretty much anywhere, I think, except for bars. South Dakota also does not require a license or a permit necessarily to purchase a gun, and South Dakota does not require the registration of firearms. So if you were to buy, say, you meet a guy on Craigslist and you buy a gun, you would never have to register that. They would never know. And then also firearms purchased through private parties or private dealers also do not require background checks. So once again, like if you meet a guy on Craigslist, go buy a gun from him, he's not running a background check on you. So you're good. So it's safe to say that in South Dakota, if you want a gun, it's pretty easy to get one. Like I could easily leave right now and just go to a pawn shop and leave with a gun if I wanted to. So how does having a medical marijuana card affect you if you are a gun owner? Well, it doesn't, okay? So you already own the firearm, so you don't need to fill out any type of government paperwork, pass background checks, etc. Regardless of what anybody has told you to try and scare you, no one is coming to your home to take away your guns just because you have a medical marijuana card. There's not even a program in place to disarm people. So if you're one of those people who's super concerned about losing your guns, if you get your medical card, okay, like literally South Dakota has absolutely no program, no government agency, nothing in place to make that a reality. So no one is coming to your home to take away your guns just because you get a medical marijuana card, all right? And I actually have a personal example. I do know someone very well who has their gold card, which allows them to carry between states. They also own several guns, and they are all registered to that person. And this person also has their medical card. And guess what? The government never came a knocking. They have absolutely no idea because, once again, medical marijuana patients are all HIPAA protected. Now, people who want to purchase a gun after they already have their medical marijuana card. So this is the one that's a little bit gray because you're kind of breaking the law whether you have your card or not if you purchase a gun, okay? So the reason that I say that is because on the application to purchase a gun, there's a question that says, are you an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic, drug, or any other controlled substance? Warning. The use or possession of marijuana remains unlawful under federal law regardless of whether it has been legalized or decriminalized for medical or recreational purposes in the state where you reside. So, if you use marijuana and you do not have a medical card and you go to purchase a gun and you check no on that little box, you're already lying to the federal government, okay? Now, if you have a medical marijuana card and you use marijuana and you go to purchase a gun and you check no on that box, you're lying to the federal government. So either way, you're lying, okay? And I'm not advocating to lie. Please, I'm not advocating to lie to the federal government. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy in that question because, it really doesn't matter whether or not you have a marijuana card in that instance because you're lying either way. All of your, medical marijuana card information is HIPAA protected, so it will not show up on any federal background check. Granted, you will need to lie on your gun application to purchase through a licensed dealer, but you would have had to lie before. So, that's really up to you. I'm not advocating to lie. And honestly, like, nobody in the government would ever know that you have a medical marijuana card and a gun unless you start committing a bunch of crimes with that gun, which, once again, I'm not advocating to do that. Please don't start committing a bunch of crimes with that gun. And I'm not advocating that you lie on a government record. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy in that one question. And finally, hunting. So you can still get a hunting license if you have a medical marijuana card. I know this is something that people have been really concerned about because South Dakota, people are hunters. I totally get it. But John Canta, the section chief for the Game, Fish, and Parks Department, stated if they just simply have a medical marijuana card, one, we wouldn't check that, but two, it wouldn't prevent them from getting a license. So Game, Fish, and Parks says you're good to get your hunting license even if you have a medical card. And once again, that goes back to the fact that you being a medical marijuana patient is all HIPAA protected medical information. So to kind of sum it up and recap, first of all, federal judges across the country are upholding the Second Amendment rights of marijuana users. Then it's also really important to remember that being a medical marijuana patient is HIPAA protected. That medical marijuana card is not going to show up on any federal background check whatsoever because it's HIPAA protected, obviously. And then current gun owners, if you already own the guns, you're good. Nobody's coming to take them away. If you want to purchase a new gun, yes, you are going to have to lie on your application. However, if you're a marijuana user already, you're already lying on that gun application. So I'm not advocating to lie to the government, but either way, you're lying, okay? And finally, hunting. You're good. You get to go hunting even if you have a medical marijuana card. So I hope this kind of clears up some of the confusion that people have surrounding medical marijuana cards and guns, especially in South Dakota. And if you guys have any questions or anything that I missed and I need to add, please go ahead and add it to the comments down below, and I will be sure to look into it for you. Thanks, guys.